Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Smackdown review. And Smackdown tonight, I thought it was just a terrible show, in my opinion. Outside of the Usos versus the Street Profits, everything outside of that match that we saw on tonight's show was just very meh, in my opinion. Nothing was interesting on the show tonight outside of that match of the Usos and the Street Profits. But just got done watching Dynamite. It ended 10 minutes ago. It was, awesome seeing the Daily's Place in a full capacity because there was a full capacity crowd there for Dynamite tonight, which, I might review Dynamite maybe tomorrow because it was their go-home show for Double or Nothing, which is this Sunday. So, but it's already Saturday, so Double or Nothing will be tomorrow, Sunday. But if you guys haven't checked out my previous video that I uploaded earlier, my movie review of Cruella is up. Really enjoyed the film. So definitely check out my review of that if you guys haven't seen it. But anyways, let's jump right into the SmackDown review. So SmackDown opened up tonight with the Usos, Jimmy and Jay. They were backstage. They were hyped up for their in-ring return to take on the Street Profits. And the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, the Universal Champion, walked up to them. And so Roman ended up asking if they're ready. And they end up telling Roman that they are ready. So Reigns ended up wanting to know the game plan, the end game. So Jimmy ended up telling Roman that the plan is to win. And this is how they're going to make the family proud. So Jimmy went on. He ended up saying that he can't wait to be on for the match. Reigns ended up saying that Jimmy has got it all figured out and that he is happy for him. So Reigns then wished both Jimmy and Jay good luck in the match. So Jimmy ended up walking off and he ended up telling Jay, let's go. Let's have this match against the Street Profits. So Reigns ended up saying that Jimmy is going to need it. So Jay had a worried look on his face. So Reigns ended up asking Jay, what's wrong? And if Jimmy speaks for him now. So Jay ended up saying that even though he's with Jimmy tonight, Reigns knows he's with him also. So Jay was like to Roman, I'm with you. I'm with you. So Reigns ended up saying, maybe Jay, should tell Jimmy that. So that was that. That was what happened backstage. But Jay is looking a little concerned, with Jimmy teaming up with him again. The Usos end up, having their ring return. It's gonna worry Jay a little bit, for everything that Roman has done for him. So he should be a little worried. Jay should be a little bit worried. So then we had the Street Profits end up coming out. Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. So we had Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. They end up cutting a promo on the Usos. So then the Usos end up coming out. And, of course, this is their in-ring return for the both of them since March of last year. Jimmy was shown wearing a knee brace on his leg, on his left leg. And whenever the Usos are on the mic, you just got to listen to what they have to say. They are that entertaining on the mic. So Jimmy ended up saying that the best damn tag team in the business is back. No matter how long he's been gone for. So Jay ended up saying that he will drop the Street Profits if they say one more word about Roman, because the Profits were mimicking Jay. They were talking trash about Jay with Roman. So Jay ended up saying, this is a family business, and that the Profits end up putting their nose in it between him and, Roman Reigns. So Jay ended up saying that the Street Profits are on social media calling this a dream match. Well, Jay was like, welcome to the nightmare. So Jimmy ended up going on about getting one step closer to being 7-time tag team champions. So then Dawkins ended up saying that they aren't stepping stones. Dawkins ended up giving props to the Usos for how they used to run the tag team division. But he ended up saying that he and Montez Ford run the division now. What division? There is no tag team division. The tag team division on both shows, SmackDown and Monday Night Raw, are fucking terrible. So I'm like to Dawkins, what division? So the Usos end up welcoming the Street Profits to the Uso Penitentiary. So we had the Profits and the Usos. They end up dropping the mics. Both teams end up facing off in the middle of the ring. And they were talking trash to each other. SmackDown went to commercial. And then when SmackDown came back, we had the match, the Street Profits versus the Usos, which this was the best match of the night, in my opinion. This was a very entertaining, good match here. And, it was good. It was a good match for the Usos to make their return together in. So we had Jimmy Uso starting off the match with Angelo Dawkins. Jimmy took Dawkins to the corner. Dawkins ended up leveling Jimmy with two big shoulders. Montez Ford ended up coming in, and Dawkins ended up slamming Montez Ford on top of Jimmy, and he went for a quick pin attempt. Jimmy ended up going out to the floor to try to regroup. Jay came in. He ended up kicking Montez Ford, and they both ended up locking up. Jay ended up beating Montez Ford around. He delivered an uppercut to Montez Ford. Ford ended up countering Jay Uso. He ended up taking Jay down with an arm drag. And the Street Profits then end up hitting a back suplex. And Dawkins ended up covering Jay for a 2 count. And there was a point. There was an awesome point in this match. It was the highlight of the match where Montez Ford, he ended up running. He ended up leaping over the top, and he just took out Jay Uso on the floor. And Jay Uso was belly first on the floor. That spot right there in the match was one of the best highlights of the match there. Seeing Montez Ford jump over the top and just took out Jay Uso on the outside. It was that awesome. So at the end of the match, we had Jimmy Uso ended up winning the match for him and Jay, where Jimmy ended up delivering a super kick to Montez Ford as Ford was trying to get up. So Jimmy ended up covering him, and there you go. The Usos ended up winning the match. And this match went over 20 minutes. And it was awesome. It was a great match here. But great match from the Usos and the Street Profits here. It was that entertaining of a match. It was the best match of the night. And then the show all goes downhill from here. So after the Usos versus the Street Profits, Megan Morant was backstage with the Dirty Dogs, Dolph Ziggler, and Robert Roode. So they end up talking about their rematch for the SmackDown Tag Team titles. So they would tell Omega and Morant that, and they ended up saying that they are going back to the drawing board, and that tonight will be different because they are pros, and they do what they want, and they will once again become the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So that was that. But who cares? So then we had Natalya and Tamina versus the Riot Squad. Non-title match. This was just a very meh match in my opinion. We had Natalya and Ruby Riott going at it. Liv Morgan came in. Morgan ended up dropping Natalya, started taunting her. Liv delivered a running back splash into the corner to Natalya. Ruby ended up coming back in. They ended up doing a double team catapult to Natalya. Ruby then delivered a shoulder thrust and then tagged back in Liv. So they end up sending Natalya into the turnbuckles. And at the end of the match, Tamina ended up nailing the Superfly splash to Ruby. And she ended up going for the cover. And there you go. Tamina and Natalya ended up winning the match. Very meh match here. So then we saw Adam Pearce backstage. The Usos end up walking in. And the Usos were bragging about the win by them defeating the Street Profits. And Adam Pearce ended up saying that the Street Profits are great. And that's hard to deny the Usos. So Jimmy was like to Adam Pearce that they want the winners of tonight's SmackDown Tag Team Titles match next week. Whether it be Dolph Ziggler or Robert Roode or Rey and Dominik Mysterio. So Adam Pearce then makes the match official. He ended up making it official. You know, whoever wins the match tonight, whether it be Dolph Ziggler, Robert Roode, or Rey and Dominik, whoever won, they would get to face the Usos next week on SmackDown. So that was that. And then we went to Bianca Belaire versus Carmella. Just another very meh match here. So Bianca Belaire ended up coming out. And SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back, Carmella was backstage with Kayla Braxton. So Carmella was cutting a promo on Bianca. And she ended up heading out to the ring. And Bayley ended up interrupting from ringside. And she was on commentary for the match. So the match got underway. And Bianca Belaire ended up going at it with Carmella. And she ended up taking Carmella into the corner. She started unloading on her. Carmella then came back and dropped Bianca Belaire over the top rope. So we had Carmella end up run around the ring. Bianca Belaire end up leveling Carmella with the shoulder. And Bianca then end up pressing Carmella high above her head and tossed her in the ring. And Bianca was looking back at Bayley. And she was taunting at Bayley. So Bianca Belaire then got into the ring. Carmella then ended up nailing a cheap shot to Bianca. Carmella then ended up dropping Bianca with a face buster. And she went for the cover. Bianca ended up kicking out too. Carmella then ended up grabbing Bianca's hair. Started working Bianca over in the corner. Carmella then ended up delivering back elbows to Bianca in the corner. And at the end of the match, we had Bianca Belaire win the match where she ended up hitting the KOD to Carmella. So there you go. Bianca Belaire ended up winning the match. Post-match, Bianca was standing tall with the SmackDown Women's Championship. And then Bayley ends up standing on top of the announce table, starts yelling at Bianca. And they're both staring down at each other. And it looks like we're possibly going to be getting once again, Bianca versus Bayley at Hell in a Cell. That's going to be coming. But overall, very meh match from Bianca and Carmella. So then we saw Megan Moran. Megan Moran was backstage with Ray and Dominik Mysterio. They ended up telling Megan that they have a game plan for tonight's title defense. They went on about how their motivation is incomparable right now. Dominik went on to say that there is no way they will lose the match tonight, and that there's no tag team in the world that can top this. So that was that. So then we had Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins ended up coming out, and he was wearing a shirt with all like different colored leaves on it. And I'm like, it looks like he just came back from Hawaii wearing that shirt. So he was on the mic, and he ended up saying that he did not come to talk. He came to fight. So Rollins then ended up calling Cesaro out to the ring so that they can finish what they have going on. So Rollins was like, oh, Cesaro's not here. He's not here to swing him or disrespect him, or also look past him. Rollins wanted to say that Cesaro is not here to ruin the greatest day of the year. And of course, it was Seth Rollins' birthday. So happy birthday to Mr. Rollins there. So Rollins then ended up showing us a little video of what happened last week. And he ended up saying that that was hard to watch, but not the worst of it. He ended up saying that he's obtained some exclusive audio from Cesaro's hospital room. But Rollins ended up saying, oh, it's just a joke. So he was laughing his way. He ended up saying, in all seriousness, what happened to Cesaro last week was unfortunate. So he ended up saying that Cesaro pushed his to a place that he didn't know, and that he deserves part of the blame because he put himself in that situation. So Rollins then went on to say that he's a man of integrity. And the truth is, we have to place some of the blame on you. As you know, Rollins was looking at the camera. Rollins then went on to say that the fans watching at home are the ones who brainwashed Cesaro into believing that it's okay to disrespect him, into believing he can look right through him, into believing he deserves opportunities he simply did not earn. So Rollins went on to say that if Cesaro never steps foot in the ring again, the blame is on Cesaro and the fans. So Rollins then went on to say that the blame is not on his hands, as they are clean, but the fans' hands are filthy. So Rollins ended up saying happy birthday to himself, starts singing happy birthday to him. So he's just, laughing like, ah, 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 ah. And then that's how the segment ended. But this was a very long segment here. It was absolutely boring. It was awful. Awful segment here with Seth Rollins. Just over long. So then we had Apollo Crews versus Kevin Owens, non-title match. Of course, Apollo Crews ended up coming out along with Commander Aziz. And the match ended up going to a disqualification because Commander Aziz ended up hitting the Nigerian nail to Kevin Owens because Kevin Owens ended up having Apollo Crews. So Kevin Owens ended up hitting the stunner and Apollo Crews was out. Kevin Owens ended up going for the cover, but Commander Aziz ended up hitting him with the Nigerian nail, which caused the disqualification. So post-match, Owens ended up gasping for air, and Apollo Crews was announced as still the Intercontinental Champion. And I'm like, why are you announcing that he is still the Intercontinental Champion? This was a non-title match. So Kevin Owens ended up stumbling to ringside, He was choking and gasping for air. And that was that. But I'm like, why book this match when you're going to have it next week again? And yes, I'll get to explain that. Why have the match when you know you're going to do a fuck finish here? This match should not have been on the show tonight. I mean, why even book it? So then Roman Reigns was backstage with Paul Heyman. Jey Uso ended up walking in to Roman's room. He took a seat. Reigns ended up bringing up to Jey the title shot that the Usos have for next week. And he ended up asking Jey if that's what he wants to do. Reigns then ended up asking why Jey told him earlier that he's still with him. So Reigns was like, what happened to we? He ended up saying that everything they've been through over these months, he only wanted the best for Jey. And that was all that mattered to him. Doing right by him and the family. So Roman ended up saying that they will figure it out when it comes to Jimmy. But Jey is main event. He ended up saying that Jey owns SmackDown. But as soon as his brother comes back, they're stuck in the opening match. So Reigns was like, he just doesn't want Jey to go back to a place where people look at him and say, wonder which brother he is. So Jey ended up shaking Roman's hand. He ended up saying that he hasn't thought about it like that. Reigns then ended up saying that maybe Jey should think about it like that because his brother isn't. So that was that. So then we had Shinsuke Nakamura versus Chad Gable. This match was just meh, in my opinion. Although, I love the pairing what we saw last week where Rick Boogs comes out to the stage. Boogs starts playing his guitar, and he ended up doing an introduction for Nakamura. Boogs ended up playing along to Nakamura's music as Nakamura made his way out. Nakamura was still wearing Corbin's crown. So I love when Boogs starts playing the guitar, starts playing Nakamura's music, and we just see Pat McAfee just going wild, just rocking out at ringside next to Michael Cole, which I think that's funny. Pat McAfee, you could tell that, he's rocking out and he probably is a fan of Boogs. So, but when fans come back and they acknowledge Rick Boogs and his guitar playing and him introducing Nakamura, I think Boogs is going to be a guy that gets over with the crowd. Have to say that. So if he was in the match, I think he would be over with the crowd and everybody will love him. So we had Otis and Chad Gable. They were in the ring. Otis then ended up suddenly attacking Nakamura before the bell ended up ringing. He ended up slamming Nakamura in the middle of the ring. So then the bell ends up ringing. Chad Gable ended up dropping Nakamura with the belly-to-belly suplex. And he did another belly-to-belly to Nakamura. Went for the cover. Nakamura kicked out at 2. So Gable ended up keep control of the match until Nakamura then ended up leveling Gable with a kick. Later on in the match, we had Corbin end up coming to ringside, and he ended up taking the crown off of the commentary table, and he was saying, "This belongs to me." So Gable ended up trying to capitalize of the distraction from Corbin. Nakamura then ended up countering Gable, ended up rolling Gable up for a 2 count. Nakamura ended up coming right back, delivered the Kinshasa to Gable, went for the cover, and there you go. Nakamura ended up winning the match. Post-match, Nakamura ended up turning and he saw Corbin standing on the ramp with his crown. Corbin was shown ranting about how the crown belongs to him. So Corbin ended up putting the crown back on his head, but Boogs ended up attacking Corbin from behind. Corbin ended up going down. He was rolling down the ramp. Nakamura ended up coming down. He ended up grabbing the crown, and he put the crown back on his head. So that was that. Nakamura ended up standing with Boogs. So there you go. So then we saw Kevin Owens backstage. Kevin Owens was backstage with a WWE trainer and Adam Pearce. So Kevin Owens was shown still gasping for air. He was still selling the effects of the Nigerian nail from Commander Aziz. And Kevin Owens ended up saying that he wants a title shot against Apollo Crews next week. He wants a shot at the Intercontinental Championship. So Adam Pearce ended up making the match official. Pearce then ended up telling Kevin Owens that Commander Aziz will be barred from ringside. So there you go. It will be Kevin Owens versus Apollo Crews one-on-one next week for the Intercontinental Championship. Commander Aziz will be banned from ringside. So there you go. So then we saw Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was attacked backstage, and he was being checked on by trainers back there and his son Dominik. So then we went to the main event. Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode versus Dominik and Rey Mysterio. SmackDown tag team titles on the line. So we had Dolph Ziggler get on the mic. He ended up saying that they are not responsible for what happened. Roode ended up saying that they wanted a fair fight for the titles, but if the champs can't compete, this is a forfeit, and that they will win the titles. So Dolph ended up telling the referee to go ahead and count. So then we went backstage and we saw Adam Pearce and some medics checking with Rey Mysterio. Dominik ended up saying that his dad stepped up for him last week, so he's going to do the same tonight. So Dolph and Roode end up arguing with the referee, saying that this can't happen. So Dominik ended up coming out to the ring. So we got a 2-on-1 handicap match. Dominik and Dolph and Roode, while Rey is still being checked on by the medics backstage. Even though he's supposed to be in the match, he got attacked. So it was just Dominik doing all the work and taking out Dolph and Roode. So the match ended up starting off with Dominik ended up charging. He ended up attacking both Dolph and Roode. And he ended up knocking Roode out to the floor, and he went back to work on Dolph Ziggler. And he ended up getting drop kicked by Dolph. Dolph went for the cover, which Dominik kicked out at 2. Dolph was taking Dominik into the corner, and Roode ended up coming in. Roode and Dolph ended up doing a double team on Dominik. Roode then delivered a suplex to Dominik for a 2 count. Roode then unloaded on Dominik in the corner, dropping him and stomping away. Roode ended up taking Dominik back into the corner. He ended up tagging in Dolph. And we had some more 2-on-1 from Roode and Dolph on Dominik. Dominik then blocked the shot from Dolph, and he then got dropped with a right hand. Dolph was talking some trash to Dominik. He ended up rolling up Dominik for a quick pin attempt. So at the end of the match, we had Roode end up putting Dominik on his shoulders for another double team from him and Dolph. But Rey Mysterio's music ended up hitting. He came out to the stage. Dominik then took advantage of the distraction. He ended up sliding off Roode's shoulder. He ended up rolling up Roode. And there you go. Dominik and Rey Mysterio win the match and retain the SmackDown Tag Team titles. Very lame. Very lame finish here. But match was just the same old. how many times have we seen this? So post-match, Ray was slowly walking to the ring. He ended up joining Dominik in the ring, and the Usos end up coming out. So we had the Usos and the Mysterios face off in the middle of the ring, and Roman Reigns was watching backstage with Paul Heyman. And Paul Heyman had a look on his face like he was looking at Roman, like very like creepy-ish, like. So we had the Usos and the Mysterios. They were still continuing to face off. And SmackDown went off the air with Reigns and Paul Heyman just watching from backstage. So that was that. That was how SmackDown went off the air. Overall, the show very meh outside of the Usos versus the Street Profits, which was a entertaining, good match that we saw tonight. Everything else, meh. So anyways, that's it for the SmackDown review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Be sure to check out my review of Cruella, which I uploaded earlier today. And next video will probably be the Dynamite review. So until then, see you all later.